All right. Hi, everybody. How are we doing? Let's see. Am I live over here? I think we have a little bit of improvement with the tech issues. Hi, guys. Nice. The comments pop up there then. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for being here once again for a Tuesday Night Live. Not a shocker that we are once again seeing a different angle of my apartment. I think we're getting there. So I'm actually in the process of, my friend came over the other day. She is an intuitive interior designer. So what she likes to do with is like stay sustainable and like use a lot of what you have and like rework, repurpose, reposition, get rid of things that don't serve the purpose anymore, but maybe using some things that have a purpose, or maybe you weren't using it in the right way. Like say, for example, so we're in the process of doing it mine. Oh, thank you guys. We're in the process of doing mine. We would have done it all in one day, but I had a meeting. So we only had like 3 hours to get some stuff done. So she literally rearranged my whole space. And what I'm doing is kind of like using my living room to kind of be a studio. So then I can pretty much film whenever. Because I want to make more content, but then it's like my filming setup needs to kind of be built. So I've kind of accepted that my living room is going to be that. And by living room, I mean my entire apartment. So anyway, guys, I had an amazing week since I saw you last. Pretty exhausted, so that's why we're doing an Ask Me Anything. So I have questions from you guys on Instagram, some that I wanted to answer. And then I have some things too that I'm excited to tell you about. Aw, thanks. Okay. So I was a speaker. I stole this. I was a speaker. I know it's backwards on the phone, but it says there, Jennifer Carmody, the Mandela Effect Explained. My talk was at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. At the Parapod Festival. And then I also stole this, which was the other room that my speech was taking place. So basically, yeah, we had also Kaylin Moore, who is, oh, it's coming through the correct way for you? Oh, wow, maybe it's just backwards for me then. So Kaylin Moore, she's Heart Starts Pounding on TikTok. Silas Dean, who is Creep Time on TikTok. And then me, JK Ultra on TikTok. And that was hosted by Stephanie Strange. So guys, that was just an incredible experience. That was my first time ever giving a live lecture. It went so well. Oh my God, yes, a TED Talk with JK Ultra. Hell yeah, I'm so down. I have always kind of wanted to do a TED Talk, so I'm not surprised that things are going in this direction. But it was so good. And like, so my lecture was about 30 minutes outside of LA. So, and it was starting at 9 a.m. and I had to be there early to, you know, make sure everything was working and I knew where I was going. So I got there a little bit before 8, like 7:45. So that means I had to leave here like 7. So I just didn't sleep that whole night, obviously. I was just waking up every 20 minutes, like timelines, the Mandela effect, Jim Carrey. Okay, I remember like literally all day. So that was really an exciting experience in every way. So as I was setting up my room, Linda Moulton Howe comes in and I'm like, Linda! Like I did have a moment that I thought maybe she was there for me. Like maybe she was like, oh, Jen is gonna be in the next room. No, she was lost. But I was like, Linda! And she's like, which room is mine? And I was like, oh, I like brought her over. I like talked to her a little bit. After I left, I'm pretty sure, then I was like, oh, Linda didn't know that was me actually. Which that's fine. I have this thing about me. It's a good thing, but it's also slightly a curse. Everyone thinks I work everywhere. So if I'm in CVS, everyone thinks I work there. I don't wear the CVS uniform for fun. Everywhere I go. I remember one time I went to the Nespresso store to buy Nespresso pods for myself. And everyone started coming up to me asking for help. I'm like, I'm the one who needs help here. So I left because I couldn't help them. And I didn't know where a sales associate was. Yeah, and a stand-up comedian, exactly. My real Mandela effect. But this is like the thing, everywhere, this happens to me all the time. So I wasn't surprised that Linda did it to me. I have that energy. I have that I work here energy even when I don't work here. And then I actually do. I'm like, all right, well, let's find the room. So I took her. You have an energy that's about that attracts people. Thank you, Ruby. What I think it is that I feel like maybe because I have confidence, maybe it feels like I'm confident with the space, like I'm working at the space. But also, I've worked at so many places. I've literally, if I started counting the jobs I had, I probably would cry because then I would realize where I've spent most of my life. But if I were to I've probably had at least 100 jobs, at least. Like sometimes I would have like 3 jobs at a time. So yeah, I've had so many and all different types of things. So I guess that's also it too, is that everywhere is kind of the same. So you can kind of figure it out too. Like if someone asks you, I'm like, all right, here, let's figure it out. So that was nice. So I didn't get to find Linda after that though. So I didn't get to really have a conversation with her. So I have to write her an email. But my lecture went really well. It did. I don't think it got too boring. I think maybe at a couple moments, just because hearing anyone talk, as a Leo, you're constantly getting asked for help. That must be it. It must be the Leo energy that people are like, you know what? They know where they are and they might know their way around here. So yeah, the Mandela effect talk was great. So it was a smaller room. There was probably about 40 chairs, and I had maybe a little bit less than half, maybe somewhat more less than half. But it was actually nice for a 9 a.m. lecture, and the turnout was pretty good, especially too then I ended up doing the panel at 12:30. So my friend Andrea was there, which was just amazing. I was so grateful. And that's another thing I actually want to talk about too today. That'll be a good segue. Is I do want to talk a little bit about friends and friendship and stuff, because I do have a lot of friends. And recently, in the last couple weeks, as I've been so overwhelmed and feeling so overworked with my own stuff, it's just that I have a lot of good things, a lot of good opportunities, a lot of good things to work on, but it's overwhelming. So it's just been great that I've had friends, like my friend that came over, Mariah, and literally moved around all the stuff in my place and is going to come back 2 more times, and she's going to do my closets, my cabinets. But the next time we're still judging. She says she judges. So she's going to judge the energy around 2 more times. And repurposing things and doing things with more aligned. Say, for example, right here, I have this bar cart. The bar cart used to be over there, but now the bar cart's here. She's like, is the bar cart really aligned with you anymore? Do you really need a cart of alcohol in your house? How long has that stuff been sitting there? Do you even drink it? And she's like, maybe the Dom Perignon is yours because you haven't opened it and you're saving that. But everything else on that cart, she's like, that's not you. Get rid of it. And I was like, what if I need it for a party or something? She's like, maybe there's somewhere you can put it or something. And I was like, you're right. And now I have the idea, after we talked about it and we were walking through it and she was cleaning up stuff and moving stuff around. She's like, certain things like that. You're they're not aligned with you anymore, but I really like the cart, So what I'm going to do this week, clear that off. Probably just going to give the alcohol to my friends because they have a bigger place than me and they usually host anyway. And I'm going to go to their parties anyway. I'm literally, I'm going to make drinks at your house for your party. That's what I'm going to do. So, because what do I need it here for? How many people are going to drink? And I'm going to turn it into a tarot cart. Isn't that a good idea? A tarot cart where I can put oracle cards and crystals and cool little spiritual things. And I have these little stands for daily tarot cards. So they're back there. But like sometimes if you guys have seen on like my other videos where I'll have like some tarot cards standing up in the back, they have like a little, yeah, kind of like an altar. But I'm not really the biggest fan of, I shouldn't say fan. Um, I'm not that like connected to like ritual stuff. So I don't really use like altars and stuff. I guess I do sort of, but I think I more so use it with like images, symbols and stuff as opposed to physical objects. And it's just something that like the way that I like to work with energy. But then again, at the same time, my whole apartment's like an altar, you know? So I'm kind of talking out of my ass with that because literally it's also like, I feel like this whole place, like I'm living inside of my own altar, you know? So a little bit more about Parapod. I also, oh, sorry, I was talking about friends. So I've just been really lucky that my one friend did that. My other friend is going to help me do all the streaming stuff, and then I won't have to stream from my phone anymore. My other friend is going to, well, my two friends that are married, they're going to let me borrow their camera. My other friend, like, literally came to Parapod with me, drove like an hour that early in the morning to be there supporting me, making sure that I got like videos of the footage I needed and, you know, just even helping me like carry my stuff around and, you know, it was just great. And I just really, I've been so grateful for the people in my life. And a lot of people have been like, wow, you have so many great friends. And I do. And they're like, yeah, and you have such supportive friends. I feel like I don't have that. And actually, that's something that I do want to talk about a little bit because this is also a Leo thing too. I know there's a lot of Leos here. You got to go hard for your friends too, you know? Now, if it feels very unequal, if you feel that there's like energy vampirism going on and you're feeling kind of drained from it, then I'm not suggesting that you go hard in that situation. But if there's friends that like when you leave, you feel renewed, refreshed, go hard for those people. Like, because those good people will go hard for you. And that's really, I think, how I've managed to, I have literally like 100 close friends. It's really ridiculous. And the rotation is too wide. I mean, but I will always make time because that's the thing is when you have people who like make you feel good after and like your cup is full after you spend time with them and you also feel like they're leaving with their cup full. Because if you're always living with your cup full, but then they're kind of like drained, depleted by the end, then you might be the problem. But I don't think that's necessarily the case for most of the people that would be watching this. I feel like a lot of them are more so going to be like maybe giving more, you know, maybe more empath, more giving. So that's my advice of like, because really I have felt it so hard in the last, I felt it in this like last couple weeks, months, so much support from people. And I'm like, wow, this is really because, and I mean, even with you guys, with everyone, you know, that I know from my time as becoming JK Ultra, you know, like from the internet and then making so many personal relationships with people, you know, all of that too, I feel like kind of falls under the same thing. Like go hard for the things you really feel for that fill your cup. Like, so with that, you know, it's a little different than a friendship, but like say like when I'm giving that information, I'm going hard giving that information because I believe in it. And I believe that the people that are going to get that information need it in the right way. And that when it gets to them, they're going to appreciate it. They're going to do what they need to do with it. It's going to serve them. It's going to help them serve others. And that's like the same thing too, like with friends. Like I was just yesterday, 12 hours helping my friend with her shoot. And like, I could not be more happy about it because it's like, I believe in her. And of course I want to be there to do that, you know? So that is my advice. Now, some people feel that they don't have enough people in their life. Definitely change the language. I really think the best thing that has helped me, I started saying these affirmations in 2020. I did say them every day for like a while, but then I would kind of get off and then go back on. And then I just kind of say them whenever I can remember. But one of them is the universe supports my desires today. And well, people support me and the universe supports my desires today. Or people support me, the universe supports me. But I always do include that people support me. Even if you don't feel it in that moment, because really, like I promise you, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I am very supported. So that. Also, last thing on the friends, work friends are great. So like if you kind of feel like you might not have people in your life or like enough friends or whatever, if you're working, those are your people that you're meant to meet in a way. Because other friends, you meet them because you think they're cool or you like the same things or have common interests or common hobbies or you're interested in them. Work friends are like family. You can't choose them, you know? So work friends and family are like perfect opportunities for people who are meant to be in your life. So if you kind of have that like work bestie that you never really hang out with, start hanging out together because you do have these. I mean, for me, a lot of these people are either that support me and help me. A lot of them are work friends because I've had all these different jobs. But then also at the same time, you want to, you know, uh, with your work friends, you know, you have them by chance in your life and it's not a mistake. And it's just a really good way to meet people. And sometimes maybe you feel like, especially too, like sometimes people in relationships, they don't like hang out enough because they have a partner and they just want to kind of rush back home to their partner. But you have to, because you really do need those relationships in your life. And you, oh yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like so many of these people that are helping me with these things are people that I've worked with a long time ago or people that I met because of friends at work. So I would say that that's pretty much like one of the biggest ways that I've met people is work people, you know, in so many different jobs. Okay. Today also 4/4 of April is actually a very important day for me because this day I realized, I only realized this like an hour ago. So it's not like this is an important day that I celebrate every year. But I'm celebrating this year is 4/4 was the day that I originally quit my regular job. So I mean, I've had so many jobs, but the last like regular full-time job that I had was um, at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. It was like a very, very, very high-end place. Like literally everyone came in there. It was insane. Like, there's like that Beyonce meme where she's like sipping a martini. I was literally there that night. That was after the Grammys. She came in, ordered that martini, took that picture that became this huge meme. She didn't even take a sip. She put her lips on it for that picture, maybe got a drop. We threw that out. But this is like literally like, you know, I worked in so many different places. That was kind of like the end of my time where I was kind of like, nah, man, if I'm gonna go to work at one of these places, then I need to make money. I can't bend over backwards. I need to make good money. So I was very grateful for that job. But I really started getting into like Mind Valley and stuff. And I started getting into, I mean, I was already into all the spiritual stuff, but I started getting into the personal development more. And like, I'm very into the Dolores stuff and all those things, but I never really got that much into like the personal development type of stuff, the courses, the programs, the, you know, seminar stuff. That was never really something that I had done previously. I mean, mostly because I was probably like not wanting to spend money on it because I was always working, and then you feel like you work so hard for your money and then you're like, oh my God, that's so much money for a class or a seminar. It's also the reason why I like to keep my classes like very affordable for everyone. Because a lot of classes like literally have changed my life. I would like in every way. So in 2021, before I ended up quitting my job fully, um, I just like was learning about personal development stuff. And I think might have mentioned this before that I had taken Lisa Nichols' class, which was actually crazy enough for public speaking. And because I wasn't going to do anything like that at the time, I skipped all of those parts. So I didn't really do any of the public speaking exercises. But what was funny is that there was meditations connected to the speaking exercise. So I would watch her speak, and then I would watch her speak, and then I would do the exercise, the meditation, but I would never do the actual thing that you're supposed to speak on camera for. And I wouldn't like focus on that part of the class. The class was called Speak and Inspire. and it's by Lisa Nichols. Also, if you guys want, if you guys want to look into like Lisa Nichols stuff, any of her speeches on YouTube are spectacular. She is like one of the best public speakers. I have a plant, the plant that you guys are all concerned about. That plant is named Lisa Nichols. The real Lisa Nichols is doing a lot better than the plant. So that's good for everybody. But there was one of the meditations in that class where basically three of those meditations changed my life in that class. And one of them was you go to your own funeral. Sorry, spoiler alert. It moves you 3 years into the future and you walk into a room, there's a funeral happening, you go up to the casket and you look down at the casket and it's yourself. And I got up from that meditation and was like, I gotta quit my fucking job. Like, I can't. If I really was dead in 3 years, I would regret this. So then I started to really feel that. And I was like, damn, I have to do it. And at that time, you know, I was also obviously into the Dolores stuff. And I was like looking at the timeline stuff and I'm like, damn. So you create two realities. And that's why I always give that example, because that's a very specific example to me, is that you put a lot of energy to, do I want this job or do I want to leave this job? And you put so much thought and energy into that decision. And then you basically created both realities already. So because you've already created both realities, I was like, wow. So tomorrow, if I go in to work, or well, basically it wasn't tomorrow because I did give 2 weeks and I did everything properly. And I worked so hard in those 2 weeks up to the very last minute. My very last shift, I was still serving the owners, which is like the hardest people to freaking serve. They're the worst. I can't even talk about them. Like that level craziness, like craziness, the stuff that they own. So, but I would have to serve the owners, which was just like crazy how like everything had to be perfect and specific. And they would purposely do things in a way to try to make you mess up. It was so annoying. But down to the last day, I still had to do those like really hard stuff. And I was like, I've already created both realities. Do I want to live on the timeline that I keep coming back to this place, or do I want to live on the timeline that I don't? Both already exist. Which one am I going to fucking perceive, you know? So, and then that's when I did. And the date, I had done 2 weeks. And the last day of the 2 weeks, I told them that the 4th of April was my last day. That was the last day I will work for them. And I was like, you can schedule me. I know you're understaffed. I know things are freaking crazy. I cannot handle your problems or fix it or solve them anymore. I cannot pick up the pieces anymore. But for those last 14 days, you can schedule me as much as you want. And they did. And I literally at the end of those 2 weeks was like, you went through the 4-4 portal. I did. So then I just realized that today, that was 2 years ago to this very moment. And from the time that I had left that job to the following 4-4, which by the following 4-4, everything had changed because I started TikTok in January of 2022 and it just popped off instantly from the beginning. So by that point, I had already had like most of my followers that I have right now because I got those followers all in my first like couple months. And then I didn't pretty much grow anymore. I mean, a little, but not in those like crazy ways. Like in the beginning, like that was a golden era. Oh my God. Like that so needed to happen. That was insane. But that golden era of like, I don't know, getting like freaking 300,000 followers in like 2-3 months, like that was crazy. And just my everything that changed. But that was at the end of that year. Throughout that, there was a lot of stuff that happened. Oh, thank you guys for saying all the sweet stuff. You guys are so sweet. Will last week's be live posted as well as this week? Yes, if you want to go to my channel, you'll see all my lives are there. It should be the first one. If you click on my channel, I have them on top. So you'll see the one with Evan. But you guys know I went through a lot of shit leading up to right before TikTok. As I said, the whole crazy breakup, the crazy possession thing, which I really probably will never fully talk about, because just the person is not well, you know? And it's like, it doesn't feel good to like tell someone's story when it's still unresolved. So, you know, that's what that is. But I'm just saying that so many of my friends that I have now were friends from that job. And now it's been 2 years since that job. And my whole entire everything has changed. And I did my first live lecture, which I couldn't even like have even seen happening while I was at that job. And this is like, look at this. Like, there's my name with an alien right there. Like, I pulled that right off the wall, right? Like towards at the end, I was like, before I was leaving, I was like, shh, go over to the other one. I was like, shh, ripped them both off the wall. I was like, yeah, that's good. Those are mine. You don't need them. You'll print them again if you need them. Those are mine. But also at the Parapod Festival, guys, I saw Billy Carson, which was really cool. So I got to go to Billy Carson's lecture. That was really interesting. Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, and that's the thing too about like my journey. I'm still very much in the beginning of it, but just my advice to everyone, you know, for everything is like really stay true, because you're creating the different realities with the thinking, with the overthinking, or the deciding of things, even if it's not overthinking, just coming up with multiple options, deciding between options. You really do got to stay true to yourself, and it will align, and the things that are right for you will continue to come to you. And there's like a lot of times that it hasn't been easy for me to stay true in these last, you know, not that it hasn't been easy that I didn't follow through with it, but that sometimes there's things that will either hurt someone's feelings, you know, because it's the truth to you and you need to say it. Or maybe it's, you know, say someone that has to leave your life, and you can't help them or save them anymore, you know? So those are things that you really, especially in those important, every decision is shifting your timelines, but those important decisions that are really weighing on your heart, that's the breakthrough stuff. So, you know, if you get scared, like these things you don't know what to do, like really don't think about what matters to anyone else. Go inside and feel what feels right for you, what would feel best for you, and go with that. And of course, there'll be consequences. Not everyone needs to like your decisions. But you know what? Like, there was other people that I worked with that I didn't want them to be like overworked or whatever, or then, but it's like everyone's fine. Everybody survived. I left the job and everything was still figured out. All those burdens that I was carrying, someone else picked them up, you know? And that's pretty much for a lot of things, you know? Obviously not with like very personal situations, you know? But okay. One last thing and then I'm going to answer your questions, guys. Oh, happy birthday, Valentina. Oh, cool. Your boyfriend only likes Billy Carson. And Phil Valentine. I'm not sure. I don't know who Phil Valentine is. I like Billy Carson too. That was a really cool lecture. Me and my friend got up really early because my lecture was so early. And I think his one was at like 3:30 or 4. So it was already a whole day before we got to that like lecture. And my friend, like, she loves Billy Carson. And I'm like, she was there helping me. But then also as we're sitting there, I'm like, you know what? There's no one better than you to be here with me today, because I could have asked different friends to help me. But one, okay, I'm so glad you're here. But then also, I'm glad that you also really appreciate this and you love Billy Carson and you love Linda Moulton Howe and you love the people that I do. So you're just as excited as I am to be here. And then we start watching the lecture. I look over and she is knocked out asleep. I'm like, it wasn't about Billy. It was not about Billy Carson. It was just, we had a long day. We had a really long day. And trust me, I felt it come over me a little bit too. There was a couple times that I felt myself like, like trying to like, and it was just because like I didn't sleep. We woke up early. We had a lot of stuff to do. But that was a really cool experience. I didn't get to like get an interview or anything with him. I wanted to, but he was also pretty busy. He was with his girlfriend, and they were just like, they had like a little entourage of people too. So I was like, I didn't want to impose and ask. And also I was in a different space. It's different than when I was at Conscious Life Expo. My purpose of being there was to like get interviews and stuff. Whereas with this, my purpose to be there was the lecture and all of that. So I had a different energy. And by that point, after I got through my lecture, which was, oh my God, like, I mean, it was the most like fulfilling, but also like a huge thing on my mind for months. You need his monoatomic gold. That's like that. Is that like similar to the Ormus stuff? I've been offered to try some Ormus, like, you know, like sending it to like influencer type stuff. Like they'll send it to you and you got to post it and stuff. Yeah, like Ormus. I don't know. I think, and it's not like I have to say if it's good or not. You know, I just have to say that I got it and I'm gonna try it. But I don't know. Is it good? I haven't tried Ormus. Oh, he sells his own Ormus. Oh, wow. It's interesting. Colloidal silver. I'm not a fan of it. You know what? I saw that blue guy on Reddit a long time ago when I was younger, and I'll never really take it. And I know it's good for you, but I'm sorry. That blue guy really scared me. All right, guys. It is time for your questions. Oh, sorry. One more thing. Full moon coming up tomorrow. This is mine. Why do I not have a better copy of my moon book? Okay, no, I just have this copy, I guess, which is my personal moon book, which is the one that has all my stuff in it. And I just wanted to let you guys know. So at this part of the moon book where you have your about you for your personal portal days, I have a personal portal day coming up tomorrow because the full moon is going to be in my moon sign. Oh no, wait, where is it? Yeah. The full moon is going to be in my moon sign. So I have a Libra moon and then it's a Libra full moon tomorrow. So that's, if we go over to this part of the moon book, it says, when the full moon is in your moon sign, when the full moon falls in the same sign as your moon, I think I just noticed a typo. Anyway, we'll move on. I'll have to fix that. Since the moon represents our inner feelings and relationships, do something intimate with a partner, call a family member, or meet up with an old friend. So, inner feelings and relationships and doing intimate things is a good thing to do during your personal portal day. Now, my personal portal day is in Libra. So we're going to go to the astro and Libra. Libra represents balance, decision-making, fairness, gentle comfort, and peace. So what am I doing tomorrow for the full moon? It was already planned. I'm going to be interviewing a woman who she runs a mystery school. So I'm going to ask her some questions about that. I don't know when that will be posted. And then I'm also going to be doing an interview. So I'm interviewing her in the morning, and then at night I'm going to be doing an interview where I'm getting interviewed, I think, or we're just talking with the guy Paul Williams, who's a QHHT practitioner. He has like a whole like huge page on Instagram with all this Dolores stuff. You guys probably follow him, so I'm really excited for that. And the topic that we're going to be talking about is Dolores canon. Like, this one's going to be really fun. Okay, your questions. First and foremost, when is the Leo King and Elizabeth April interviews coming out? Soon. Sorry, guys. Someone else asked also, am I working on a TikTok series right now? And is there anything like that coming up? No. I've been overwhelmed. I've been working on a lot of stuff, but kind of the things that will be coming up are going to be connected to those interviews, connected to different events, lives, and stuff like that. That's coming up. My Sarah Brexman interview. I also have an interview with Sean Stone. So that's going to be some of the stuff coming up. I also want to follow up on the Linda Moulton Howe stuff because there's been a lot of interesting news connected to the type of stuff that she talks about. So, oh, see, have you read Elisa Vitti? I haven't read In the Flow, but I read Woman Code. Is the Dimension series done? I probably will add some parts to it. The Neverending Story was kind of like another part to the Dimension series. Oh, you don't see a typo in your moon book. Oh, good. Maybe I just, maybe my brain is just a little bit not seeing it. Okay, so here is some of the questions that people asked in my Instagram live. I mean, my Instagram story today. Someone asked about flat Earth. Do I believe in flat Earth? I've said this a bunch of times. I'm not a believer in flat Earth. I don't, I'm not, by the way, this is literally my neighbor. This is what they do, but I live with it. Oh, what about the event? So the event that I'm doing is the group meditation. So this is going to be a guided meditation. It's going to be on April 16th. You can find it on Eventbrite for my JK Ultra events. And it's still 11/11. There's still some of those tickets left. I put out a certain amount of those tickets and there's still some of those left. So if you guys want to get it for that price, if not, it'll be $20. They'll probably be selling out soon. There's a couple left. But if you want to join that, that's just going to be a guided meditation and we will see if we can find a past life for you. And that'll be really fun. So it'll be kind of like, oh, you got yours already. Nice. It's going to be really good, really fun. And, not too dense because the meditation itself takes a bit. And it won't be, we're not going to be asking questions of your higher self like the Dolores stuff. It'll be just guided to the past life. Okay. Someone asked, because, in the past, I talked about how, I had this UFO experience as a child. When I went under hypnosis, I found out that I went on the ship. Since then, the Akashic Records told me that it was Grays and that it was connected to the hybrid program. Someone asked, have I ever asked about the stuff with the hybrid program or how many babies I have? And that was a lot. I'm like, wow, I've never asked that question. I don't know if I'm ready to know or if they would tell me, I feel like they wouldn't tell me. That's a thing too. Sometimes with people channeling information, I'm not fully convinced a lot of times because I just think that there's a lot of times, but then again, I only access the Akashic Records. I don't ask beings directly for information. So probably beings directly are willing to give different information than the records would because the records is very neutral and only for your highest good, So I don't know if they would give me the information. Past life. Wait, let's see. What did it say? Oh, you've always wondered if I was Rh negative. No, I'm not. My blood type is B positive. Be positive, guys. Why people recognize you. You'd like a series on parent-child karmic. That stuff gets touched on in the Soul series. Usually with the parent stuff, usually your parent, according to Dr. Michael Newton, it says that your parents are not always in your soul group or your soul cluster, that they're a lot of times in your secondary group. So remember what he said, that you have your immediate group, which could be anywhere from 3 to 15 people. And at the lower levels, it is 15. And as you guys grow, you grow at different levels and those groups get a little smaller sometimes. And then sometimes they go all the way down. And then basically sometimes you're not even really in a immediate soul group anymore, but you're always connected to all the souls that you had in soul groups in the past, Also, people that you've had past lives that were not in your soul groups become peripheral, and that becomes kind of like a secondary soul group with all of these other people that you've got karma with throughout these lives, and then you want to finish that up. So it was interesting that Dr. Newton says that a lot of people don't have their parents in their immediate soul group, that a lot of times the parent situation is karmic, which I definitely believe. Future timelines with, oh, domes, not drones. Why could I not read my own handwriting for a sec? Okay. Someone asked about the future timeline with the domes. So in that book, Mass Dreams of the Future by Helen Wambach and Chet Snow, they talk about that in the future, they moved these people to the year 2100. And then those people said, there was different groups, there was 4 groups, and one of those groups said that they were living in a new age natural community that fused science and spirituality, and that there was little dome-like houses, and that people lived in these communities of dome houses. And that's interesting because, you know, space, not spaceships, earth ships, things like that, you know, these dome technologies, these, what is this one called? California dome something. It like teaches you how to make those dome houses. So I was not surprised by that. Even though that book was published in the 80s, I was not surprised by those dome things. But then also when we did the meditation last time on 3/23, and my friend Chelsea was with me, she saw when they showed us that future Earth, she saw dome houses. And that's what made me think of that, because also in Dr. Michael Newton's book, he talks about moving into the future. Okay, let me do a video on the dome houses. Let me write it down, because now we already have like 3 connections of darn pen. Ugh. Okay. Dome house video. Okay, coming up, guys. That'll be on TikTok. Okay. So those dome houses, those are, that timeline has also come up in the Journey of Souls when he said sometimes people show up in future lives. Sometimes he didn't ask them to move forward in future lives very often, but he said sometimes they did, and that they would live in domes in these like kind of integrated communities. So, I mean, it's just more confirmation of what we already know and love and feel. Someone asked, and now this is not usually a question that we talk about here, but we do want to clear it up if someone's wondering. Do I believe that there's evil spirits among us or around us? Kind of, not really. Now, I do think that there is malevolent beings or malevolent energies. I do believe in those things, but I don't really, and I do think that like everything's here, and I think all the dimensions are here. So all different things are here in our space. However, I just don't think that the evil spirit thing is something to worry about. If you feel like that presence, there could be something. But a lot of times when people feel that presence, it's a lot of times something psychological that they're dealing with. And it's kind of like almost like they're creating things in their reality. So sometimes when people have like poltergeist, especially people who are super psychic, when they have like some scary phenomenon happening, it's good to ask yourself, how am I feeling? And be honest with yourself. You know, be honest about not just that situation. How am I feeling? How am I feeling in the other things in my life? Because, for example, something with like, some people have like a sleep paralysis demon. That's like a sexual sleep paralysis demon. Okay, that could be an evil energy. But also, my friend who has done integrative healing and all of this stuff for a long time, she said actually that what she has discovered in her work is that a lot of times those type of things, these like sex demon, night terror, sleep paralysis demon things, that they're not actually entities, that they're actually a manifestation of something. And in that case, she believed that it was a manifestation of a sex addiction. and that the sex addiction had basically kind of not personified, but had kind of been created and kind of been called in at the same time, which makes sense because if we think about everything, it is a cycle. It's a cycle of birth and death at the same time. So like same thing we talk about, like to the stuff we got into with like some of the Akashic records in a couple lives ago, where it's kind of like, are the Akashic records being recorded or are they also the creation? That's kind of where I'm at with a lot of concepts right now too, which is also why I think I'm not like making a ton of videos, because my perception has been expanding a lot too, until kind of like, wow, do things start or end ever? And I know that was always a concept, but now I'm starting to like see that concept integrate into all of these other topics that I talk about and know. The same person also asked, do I believe in hell? So I just want to clarify too, because, you know, I don't want people to believe in scary things. Not saying there wasn't any evil spirits or any things that are bad in the universe, but I also just think that like, if those things are happening, if those things are a concern, maybe there's other aspects in your life that are trying to scream at you. And also just going to say, you know, it's with the possession thing, without getting into too much detail. If that person had listened to their intuition sooner, this is the number one thing that I'm seeing, is that like sometimes when things do get to that bad level, psychically, or maybe psychic attacking or things like that, I'm starting to see this pattern that it's a lot of times people should have listened sooner and they were overriding their intuition. So be careful overriding your intuition too much, because sometimes maybe then it becomes an even stronger manifestation to try to show you what you need work on and what you're healing or need healing with. So if you're feeling those little inclinations, you know, really try to take them in. So let's see. Someone asked, what happens after your pets die? Now, it's a little different. We don't know for sure, because what we know about what we die is coming from humans being under hypnosis, remembering their past lives. So since that's our reference point, it's hard to know what animals go through, but based on what I've heard and based on the different information in different places. So All Dogs Go to Heaven, that was my favorite movie growing up. I watched it a million times. I watched it once as an adult. I can't believe how sad that movie is. That movie is so sad. Oh, Sylvia Brown has a book about animal spirits. Cool. I've actually never read her stuff, but I did watch her on TV when I was a kid. Which she does talk about pets. However, what I'm saying is, the person asked also, is there schools? Is there life review? Like a lot of the things that we specifically know about human reincarnation. Now, from what we know, from Dolores Cannon, from Dr. Newton, from these other sources, humans and animals are at different levels of consciousness, because the different level of consciousness means what type of avatar body you can inhabit. So basically, you have humans are at a certain level, animals are at a certain level. Not that we see the levels in order, but that doesn't mean that they're in the order of like 1D, 2D, you know, not all consciousness is going to move in the way that we need to understand it. We put it in this structure because this structure works good for the way we understand information. Most likely these dimensions are not just like stacked on top of each other in order in the way that we talk about them. I do hear things like scientists saying that dimensions are stacked on top of each other, and I think that's a little weird. I feel like, are you trying to say that they're all here? Or like that title, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once? That makes more sense, even though that's a tongue twister. So I think personally, based on that information, they say that animals have a more collective hive mentality, although we definitely see that in our lifetime, animals have raised in their consciousness to a crazy level. From when I was younger, my dogs knew certain things. Now every dog is so intelligent and knows so much and so many words and has so much personal identity and individuality. So I do believe that animals are moving, because we're all raising consciousness. Also, the animals are raising consciousness too. So they're getting very individual. I feel that previously animals probably kind of went back into a collective and then would like basically be this kind of going in and out of this hive soul. I think now with where animals are at, because also Dolores Cannon and Dr. Michael Newton both wrote those books in the 80s as well. We're talking about 2023 here. A lot has happened. Consciousness has changed. The frequency has changed. The time is different. Time is faster. Days are shorter. So personally, I think that animals are starting that process, but I have no confirmation of that from any sources because we can't do a past life regression on a dog that is going through that process. Although there is psychic mediums that talk to animals. One of them that I really love is Ellie Lax. L-E-E-L-L-I-E. Lax, L-A-K-S, Lax. She owns the Gentle Barn, and she's also an animal medium. She doesn't talk too much about the animal medium stuff, but sometimes she does because she literally has now 4 locations of the Gentle Barn where they rescue animals. It's my favorite place. That's where Holy Cow lives. So she's a great animal medium. So I would love to actually one day be able to ask her some of those questions because she gets to talk to, and I just literally know she's legit. I know she's legit. I've met her, never talked to her about that, but you just know, like, she is such, like, she is the animal caretaker that came here to this earth to do that, you know? And I just love her for that. So I would love to maybe, let me write that down too. Ellie Lax interview. Let's do it. Let's get it. I go to the Gentle Barn all the time. I'm just gonna ask. Oh, I know. Sorry, Danny. I saw your posts for Bruce Wayne, your cat. That's so sad. That's the thing too, like recently I've been thinking is that like a lot of times when I look into animals' eyes in the last couple years, like really since 2020, and I've always been an animal person, but since 2020, when I look into animals' eyes, I'm like, whoa, you're gonna be a kid. Like you're literally gonna be a little kid. And I feel like it's this weird thing. Like I look at this sometimes their eyes and I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna be a little boy. Oh my God, in your next life. So I think it's also, you know, as much as it's hard that they have so much shorter lives than we do, um, it's they serve this purpose at that time. And that's the other thing that's crazy too, that comes up in different hypnosis sessions and Akashic Records readings, comes up all the time, is that basically animals are like contracted to come into our life at a certain time to help us with certain things. And especially a lot of people who have connections with animals, a lot of times it's because their soul knows that they needed to keep their heart that open. And because there was other stuff happening in their life that would close their heart off, myself included, you know, so many things that make you close your heart off, that animals and the connection to animals and animals coming into your life is sometimes like you contract that to be like, I need to keep my heart just this open. I need this unconditional love in my life during this time. Because then it makes sense too. Like my dogs growing up, my 2 dogs that I had, like I had one, then they passed, and then we had another one that I had until I was 18, and then she died. And but I had her for like 12 or 13 years by that point. And those animals, like literally, if it wasn't for those animals, like I feel like I probably could have become a sociopath, you know? Like because you have to shut down your emotions and things. So it's like a lot of times, especially for kids that are in like difficult situations, it really helps them to continue to like still like find safety and love and protection in their life when it's not really available from parental or environment and stuff. Because an animal is so much protection too. So sometimes even as adults, we need that same thing. We need to feel loved and protected and, you know, something to strive for, something to care about. So animals, they're always serving that purpose and they know what they're signing up for. So as much as we mourn them, they did their job so good. And they were like, okay, now I get to go be a person in my next life. Thanks for showing me the way. You know, plenty of sociopaths with pets. That's true. That's true. They actually say that. They actually say that sometimes that there's like sociopaths that the only thing that they can feel emotion towards is animals, which is understandable because, at least from my understanding, is that sociopath is like nature. Oh no, sociopath is like a learned behavior. It's a coping mechanism. It's like a trauma response or whatever. It's a happens because of things. But then psychopath is born that way. That a sociopath is not really born that way. That a sociopath is made, not born. That's what I've read, although I've seen so much conflicting information on so many things, but that does seem right to me. It seems like, because sociopaths are still able to do, I mean, so much like emotion. They do have a range of emotions. It's just that like a lot of other emotions are shut down. Do you resonate with any specific starseed family or multiple? So I never felt very compelled to identify as any type of star race. I love Pleiadians. Like, I absolutely love Pleiadians. I don't feel that I am one. I could have maybe like at some point, but I just don't feel like, oh, I'm a Pleiadian, you know? But I love them. Absolutely love them. I love grays, you know, I do. I connect with the grays a lot too. I feel very similar in a lot of ways. Sometimes grays are like, why not just do it the best way? Why not just get rid of the things that don't work? Forget it. It's like, yeah, you know, we'll just cut all that out. They like cut out their own time, the whole like whole timeline of their own. Because it didn't work out. They're like, we have these timelines of the future, but that one's gonna fail, so we'll just completely erase it. So I totally resonate with that. I also, more than probably anything, resonate with the mantis beings. I don't know so much about them, actually. I know that they're all over. So that's like one of the big information that I've gotten, is that like they're so spread out that there's not really a general thing that you can say about all of them, because they exist all these different places and they've taken so many different evolutionary paths. So the one thing that comes up a lot with that is the geneticists, that they are master geneticists and all of that. So I've always loved mantis beings ever since I was younger. I feel, you guys have seen some pictures of me when I was younger, I did look like a mantis. People used to call me the mantis. So, I used to like have all mantis stuff. I used to draw mantises on everything. I was obsessed with them. I had one as a pet. So I always have loved them. And I always felt very connected to that alien race. But again, I never like 100% would know what I am. And then the Akashic Records did tell me, before my Alien series, in the beginning of my Alien series, when I got the information for the series, and they gave me all of that. They gave me the information about the hybrids. They gave me the information about the grays, but also another bit of information that they decided to throw in there. Sometimes people get so close to your door that it sounds like they're coming in. But it's just a dog though. And they also told me that I'm from the Andromedan galaxy. And they said that there's hundreds of thousands of species in the Andromedan galaxy. So there's no real like specific thing to know about those species, because it's every species. All of them are there. Everything exists. So again, I don't know what type of species or whatever. Ones I don't feel super connected to personally, I don't feel super connected to like Syrians and Sirius stuff. It's never really like felt interesting to me. The Lyran vegan stuff, I feel connected to the story of what happened. I don't feel personally connected to the beings that they talk about, the feline beings and stuff like that. I just don't feel any affinity towards it or them in any way. What are some others? I love Arcturians. I do love Arcturians. I get a little scared about Arcturians. Because whenever Arcturian shit happens in my life, which for some reason people do a lot of energy work with Arcturians, and the Arcturian stuff, oh my God, every time it's like I feel it on my skin. It's so intense whenever, even when Ishmael Perez, when he does those like galactic meditations, the first one on that 10-minute recorded meditation that we all did for that was posted on Gaia, um, my skin was the same exact feeling of every time people have said that they worked with Arcturians. He didn't specifically say Arcturians, he says galactics, but it's like I feel this same feeling. Same thing when I was at the Conscious Life Expo, that woman who I have a whole interview with, I have a whole video I have to do about her still. Vivian, oh my God, I can't remember her last name. Vivian, Arcturian woman. When I did her meditation, my whole life has changed since then. Everything in my life has changed. I haven't even been eating that much since that meditation. It was a holographic activation. That was crazy. And it was the same feeling as every time that I have done anything connected to Arcturians. So I feel very connected to them. They flash like if I look over, I can always tell when it's Arcturus in the sky because it's like boop, 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 boop. And I'm like, oh, come on. Last time you did that, I agreed to some Arcturian healing that put my life upside down. Are those the blue ones? So they do say Arcturians are blue, but they also say Andromedans are blue, and sometimes people say Pleiadians are blue. I think personally that a lot of beings are coming as blue in general. They say Syrians are blue. I think a lot of beings are coming to us as blue because of their frequency. And that we're kind of like perceiving them as like blue-skinned humanoids because that's what our mind can process. I wonder if they have blue skin or skin at all or a body at all in real life. So I don't know. Let's see. Any of these other questions? I'll take a couple questions just from the chat. Sorry if I missed some already. But if you guys want to ask again. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, someone I know who identifies as Andromedan has mantis guardians. Very interesting. So that's one of the things when I asked under hypnosis, what is the thing with the mantises? They didn't say that you're a mantis. They told me that the reason that I'm so connected to them is because I have a very close friend that is a mantis. That like I have this strong affinity, that I have like basically like some of my cosmic bestie is a mantis. So they didn't tell me that I was one. They said that I have a very, very close connection. Okay. How long do you think it will take for anti-gravity, med beds, and free energy to be publicly available and disclosure about extraterrestrials and human history? So it's so difficult to say because there's so many different ways that this could go down. So there's so many different ways that this could go down. And basically, I don't see it happening like immediately, but I do think that some crazy stuff could happen, and it could be like 10 years that we have a lot of that technology. Maybe not publicly available to the full public. But then again, it's so up in the air. Like, so, okay, speaking of that woman, Vivian, who works with Arcturians, she said at that meditation that literally changed me. Well, guys, I did talk about my work in the beginning, but I guess I didn't fully explain. But Vivian said that 2014 and 2015, I mean, oh my God, what am I saying? 2024 and 2025, sorry, my brain, is depending on us to create the future. That basically what happens in the next couple years is deciding the future. So we can have this like thing happen pretty quickly, or it could take 50, 100, 500 years. Like it really is in our hands right now. Like it is in our hands to make these decisions, to stay true to your heart, to be when you're being pushed in that moment to make some type of hard decision to actually make the one that is right for you and to step on that timeline and be like, I'm stepping on the highest timeline and really commit to it, you know? About the work thing, so because people are asking, so I don't have a regular job. I lived mostly off of my savings, which are pretty much gone now. It took, you know, but I believed in the fact that like myself, and that's what I invested my savings in. I was like, I am going to invest in myself. The money is for me to get closer to what I want, which is, you know, this book that I am working on, that I've been working on, you know, the shows, the everything, you know, that I had been working on for all these years. I was like, I'm going to commit to it. I didn't realize that TikTok was going to be the way that I was going to get those things into my life, and that was all going to pop off and, you know, become my life. So I do like occasional like gig work, in the sense of like, I have a friend that's like works with like event planners. So I do work at like events with assisting event planners. But also, you know, I am transitioning into like, you know, making this my career for now. There will be money with the book once that's out. In the meantime, like literally it's like me doing courses, classes, some of the YouTube monetization. Now the thing with the YouTube monetization is like, you know, videos like this don't really make much. These are like because you enjoy doing them, you know. It's really like the stuff like my Akashic Records video or like my past life video. Those ones are pretty much what I make most of the monetization off of. But it's nothing to pay much bills with, especially my living situation is super expensive. Because I live in Los Angeles and I don't have enough money to leave. So, because I would need like at least like $10,000 to even get out of this city. So I basically, yes, am getting by in my apartment that is too expensive. But then if I move anywhere else in the city, it would be more expensive because I'm kind of grandfathered into the 2020 price when everyone evacuated the city. So that's where I'm at. Thank you that I used my savings towards myself. Yeah, that was kind of where I was at. A lot of people, that was the thing with me leaving that job 2 years ago today, was people were saying like, well, what about your money? That's not that much money. It wasn't like I had a crazy amount of savings. The universe has helped me. Lord, the universe has helped me. Oh my God. The universe has got things for me. Like one time I had to like work an event that was at an expo. Not the type of expos that I'm at now as a speaker. But I worked at an expo that had like natural foods and products, and it was like organic type of thing. And so basically, which is great because I actually used a lot of the products and they were so shocked, all these brands, that I knew all of these products. And I guess I didn't realize that I was really on the cutting edge of natural products. I didn't realize I was so ahead of the curve with that, but I guess it does make sense. Because I'm not new to the natural product game. You could smell my armpits. I've been around this block a while. And so, but that was pretty cool because then say, for example, I worked at that event and, you know, I made some money. It was a 3-day event. But on top of that, I got like 6 bags of like 6 full-blown shopping bags. Not like the reusable shopping bags full of stuff, everything, vitamins, products, everything I could need. So that was the thing too, is that like, we also have to like look at the other ways that the universe provides things for us that is not always in money. Things that we would spend money on sometimes will come to us for free. So that's another thing that has literally kept me alive and surviving, is that there's been also a lot of things that have led to other stuff, you know? And I mean, even like, you know, I'll work an event and then like, say for example, I mean, this is some real insider scoop stuff here, guys. My Health Aid kombucha, the stuff that I drink a lot, almost all of those I got for free. One time I worked at an event that was for their corporate, it was a corporate event for them. And I got like a ridiculous amount of them. The other one was I worked at this other event and they didn't want to take anything back. So they gave me 4 cases of that kombucha. So this is the thing. I also very much like get a lot of gifts from the universe and from people in general. So that's kind of the other thing is like sometimes I don't have money, but then people feed me or give me things or buy me things without me asking. So I have very much been cradled by the universe so well. Okay, I'm gonna answer one last question, guys, and thanks for being here tonight. This was a very different live that I just needed to kind of decompress. And oh, thanks for the super chat. Oh, Laura, you're always so sweet. You're always the best. Okay, let me see. One last question. Very interesting question. Do you feel any kind of connection to your past life as a tower girl, which I had like a brothel past life that was very traumatic. And I had talked about that in my past lives video. And it says, do you think there's any connection to me getting the OnlyFans swag to wear as an experience? So what's funny is there's a lot more to that. Not the OnlyFans thing. The OnlyFans thing is pretty funny because that was a Whitney Cummings event. So OnlyFans TV is actually starting to do uncensored content in comedy and other spaces. So it's actually a pretty good market for them to start getting into because they have so much money from the adult content that now if they start getting into non-adult content, they have so much money to make stuff happen. And they also, because they've made their whole business on not being censored, they can actually get into a good market with that. So that's pretty interesting. So the OnlyFans thing that I went to was really, it was a comedy event. It was funny. It has nothing, even though it was hosted by a TikToker and it was a whole bunch of like TikToker stuff there. I was not invited for that. I was actually not invited to the event at all. My ex-boyfriend was in the event. He's a comedian and he was one of the people on the roast. So it was actually just him in town inviting me to come along to his gig that he was working at. So that was pretty fun. As far as my connection to the Tower Girl thing, that's pretty complex because of course there is connections in a lot of ways. Oh, thanks guys. Another super chat. Thank you, Mary Kate. So with that, I'm actually going to get more into that in my actual book because there's like a lot of stuff in my life that is crazy as hell. And I also like the romantic connection in that life and I don't talk about that past life in the book, but there's other parts of my life that you're going to hear about in the book that have weird parallels. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Do you think there is a karmic price for conscious deceit or intentionally lying by omission despite the reason? Now, I think personally, it depends on the situation. So consciously lying or making doing something with like bad intentions, I think there is a karmic price. I don't think it's very high. But I think there is something that when you go back and review your life after, you have to acknowledge that that happened and that you did that. But it also depends on what it is. You know, if you're lying to not hurt someone's feelings, maybe that wasn't the highest option that you could have said, but that's also not something that's going to be like a karmic price. Now, if you're lying out of fear of something, maybe something that you'll have to deal with is the fact that that's a lesson where you might need to deal with again. Are aliens interdimensional or from another planet? I believe both is possible. Also, I believe both different types of aliens are communicating with humans. There's some that are communicating directly into people's brains through channeling, and then there's some that are communicating through coming here in avatar bodies. But then again, we don't even know what planets actually are. I mean, in science, they tell us that they think they know what planets are, but I have a really big hunch that like planets are something different, because all this information that I keep leading to with like the dimension stuff and consciousness, I keep thinking like, these planets are pretty suspicious. I'm having a feeling that these planets are not what we think they are. And that's why we're never going to find no freaking life on them, because these are not what we think. These are only what we're able to see from this dimension. So is there physical beings living on this planet? Maybe there's some, because I think anything's possible. Yeah, LA is expensive. Depends on what part you're in. Even in the other parts, it's expensive, even everywhere. I'm pretty lucky that I got my apartment during 2020. So the rent raises from then, but it was also the lowest that it could have been. Oh, cool. 1111. Just want to remind you to promote your upcoming class. So I'm sending 1111. Oh, thanks, Shauna. That's so sweet. So that's what I will end on, guys. I have my online class coming up on April 16th. It's going to be on, you can get tickets through Eventbrite. If you type in JK Ultra Eventbrite, you should see it come up. It's called Timeless Journey, and it is a group guided meditation, and we'll see if we can find any of your past lives. I know, get you to Austin. Austin is about to be just as expensive as here, because all the people like me moving there. All of us people in LA are making Austin just as expensive. Oh, thanks. You got your tickets. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here and always just being so supportive. And honestly, it's the best. You know, I love doing these. I'm always flustered in the beginning, but by the end, I'm always just so grateful that we do these and spend this time together and talk about this stuff. Oh, you're actually in Austin. That's awesome. Well, when I'm there, I'll have to let you know that I'm there. Maybe we get some coffee or something. Aw, thank you. Well, guys, thank you so much, everybody, for being here, for always being here. And yeah, YouTube Live is more intimate, I feel. I'm the new Linda Moulton Howe. Oh, please, please. No. I'll take all of it. Some people say they're like, you're the new Dolores Cannon. I'm like, damn. I really appreciate you guys for seeing me in such a light of the people that I love so much. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. I love you guys. And we'll see what we're going to talk about for next Tuesday. We'll get to it on Instagram Live and ask some questions. Bye, guys. Oops. Oh, my God.